Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and today's video is basically going to be me discussing the stocks that I am buying in this current market situation. And for sure, a lot of you out there that are familiar with my channel and familiar with the stocks that I prefer, you'll obviously most likely probably be able to predict what I've purchased lately. But not only will I be telling you what I purchased and how much I purchased, but I'll be explaining my thinking and the process behind all of that and why I decided to make those purchases as well. And by the way, if you do enjoy these types of videos where I share my recent market moves and the moves that I'll be making in the future as well, please make sure to drop a like on the video, smash that like button. It really does help me out and it helps the channel and my videos get recommended to new viewers. So I definitely really appreciate that. But just to show you all today so far, it's a little midday progress update before we jump into the stock that I purchased. As you can see right here, we are currently up 0.41%, a nice $302 gain for today. And if we look in total, we are almost near the peak, which was on February 19th at $75,000, and we are currently at $73,000. So we are only about $2,000 away from the all-time high in my portfolio, which I would consider pretty solid so far. And as you can see right here, I started in December, which was pretty much 5 months ago, and I'm already up 8.79% or $5,900. But anyways, back onto the main topic, which is the stocks that I'm buying. When I do videos on my channel about stocks to buy and good stocks that I think are worth purchasing for easy gains in the future, most of the time when I do those videos, I pretty much back up what I'm saying by showing how much I have of it in my portfolio. So if I say that I think a stock is pretty good and I have a lot of shares of that stock, that pretty much shows that I'm backing up what I believe in, and I'm not joking around as some just financial guru or something like that. But anyways, the stock that I'm doing this video on for, I recently purchased $1,300 of this specific stock, and if you haven't guessed it already, it is Microsoft. And as you can see right here, we did have 100 shares just a few days ago, and now we are at 107 shares. Let's go ahead and see how many shares we actually purchased with the purchase history section. I think it was, yeah, it's 7 shares. So we purchased 7 shares recently at about $1,300. And as you can see, my first purchase recently for Microsoft was on May 8th. There was also some purchases that I made on May 7th, but I already did a video on this $550 purchase, so we won't cover that, but that's just to exemplify even further that I truly do believe in this stock, because I've purchased about $1,800 just within like the past week or so. But today we'll just be focusing on these two past transactions, in which on May 8th I purchased 1 share for the price of $184.63. And just to go ahead and prove you that it's already grown since then, if you go back up here, it's $186.44. So it has already grown an extra $2 since I made that purchase on May 8th. And one thing to take into consideration for this is on May 8th, just a few days ago, there's the common perception that all of the stocks are way too high in the market and that they're overvalued. But the good thing about Microsoft is it's not necessarily overvalued if you look at the fair value report. It's one of the few stocks that is actually under its fair value. And even if it was at its exact fair value, if it was $196 or even if it was $200 right now, I think it's one of those that is worth purchasing even if it is over that fair value level, because a lot of the times these aren't really the set in stone realistic values. Sometimes these are actually wrong, and with stocks like Apple, you'll barely ever see them reach the actual fair value. So then it really makes you wonder, what is actual fair value if people are willing to pay this certain price over the prospective fair value. But anyways, with Microsoft, it is currently undervalued, which you actually don't have with a lot of these other stocks out here. Like if you look at Apple, like I was mentioning earlier, you rarely ever see this under fair value or at fair value. As you can see, the fair value is $240 for a share of Apple, and up here it is $318. So that is way, way, way over fair value, but it has still grown a lot within the past month. It's done very well for me. And then you have other examples like Tesla, which of course is pretty much a little bit over fair value. Fair value is $731. And as you can see right here, the stock price is $835. And the crazy thing about this is there was like $179 fair value when Tesla stock was at like $400 and $500. So it just shows you how inaccurate fair value can be, but most of the time it's inaccurate in terms of being too low. So there's really not much of a risk of Microsoft having too high of a fair value when the fair value is usually considered to be low. But anyways, back onto the purchases. So as you can see, I made that one right there. And then on May 11th, I decided to go all in and buy 6 shares at a price of $185.75. That equaled a total of $1,114.50, and that was at 12:58 p.m. So I spent $185.75, and if you look at the stock price right now, it's already grown 25 cents since then. Not a lot, but we still haven't gone in the negative on that purchase right there, and that's just another example of why I love this stock. The great thing about Microsoft is not only is it a fantastic growth stock, let me just prove that with my example here. If you look at the past year and you even take into consideration the very bottom of this stock market crash, Microsoft was still up 9.56%. And if you just take into consideration the current recovery and what the market is looking like right now, it is up 49.87%. And to just provide some perspective on that, you have the general index funds out there, and then you also have VOO, which is an ETF. And VOO is considered to be kind of similar to index funds, but basically with these index funds and ETFs like VOO, you usually get a 10% gain every single year on average. And as you can see with the most recent drop right here, if you count into consideration the crash, it is up 3.30%. But if you look at the peak, it was up 19.88%. So basically, a nice safe stock that is usually considered like the market average of growth per year is about 10%. And as they say, it's pretty hard to consistently beat the market. So my example here is that you have a stock like VOO, which is 10%, in which a lot of people don't even gain more than 10% per year. But then you have a stock like Microsoft that is up 49.92% currently. This 1 year for Microsoft growth is about 5 years of growth for the typical index fund or an ETF like VOO. So that's just to put some things into perspective. This is a fantastic growth stock. And if you look at the past 5 years, look at that. Just take it all in right now. Look at this graph. Never in my life have I seen a company with a stock chart that is so consistent over the past 5 years. This slow, perfect curve right here is so satisfying because it shows absolutely consistent growth throughout every single year. And then you have events like in 2018 right here, it went down a little bit. And then in 2020, the most recent crash, that is something that happened across every single stock out there pretty much. So that is to be expected. But if you don't take into consideration these events, this one in 2020 and this one in 2018, that is some tremendously excellent growth and so much consistency that you will not see with a lot of stocks out there as well. Like with Tesla, Tesla is amazing stock in my opinion, but it took a long time for it to grow recently. That is the past 5 years for Tesla. If you look at Apple, it's pretty solid. It's done pretty well over the past 1 year, but if you look at the past 5 years, you don't see consistency like with Microsoft. If you look at VOO, now the ones I'm showing you is every single stock that I hold in my portfolio, and I only hold 4 main stocks. If you look at VOO, you don't see that as well. Even if you look at Shopify, something that has grown tremendously in the past 5 years, you don't see that consistency. It's pretty much barely any growth over the first 2 years, and then you see this huge spike up towards the Rona situation recently, which I have to admit, this is one of the most insane growth rates I've ever seen in my whole life. But you don't see that consistency like you would see with Microsoft, where it's pretty much a perfect curve. And even if you look at Amazon, that's another great stock that has grown a lot recently. If you look at the past 5 years for them, yeah, see, you see this as well. It has grown even more than Microsoft, I believe. But that consistency of pretty much the perfect curve is not there. But these are all fantastic stocks that I'm comparing it to. Shopify and Amazon, great growth stocks. But I'm just proving my point that Microsoft has a history of consistency unlike no other stock out there. And in my opinion, this is the kind of chart you want to see for a stock that you would like to purchase to hold until your retirement. This is a stock that you would like to hold for the next 40 years in my opinion. As you can see, my average cost is $161.45. I own 107 shares. Microsoft accounts for about 27.27% of my portfolio. In total, I purchased a lot of Microsoft about 2 months ago, and then I started going all in on it since then, and I've made about 15.10%. That is about $2,600. That is absolutely excellent gains considering I bought this 2 months ago. I already have what would be over a year's worth of gains for an index fund or VOO, which is 15.09% in only 2 months. So as you can see, this is a stock that I am taking completely serious and going all in on. And just to show you the daily, weekly, monthly, and all that stuff, we have the daily for today. It's down a little bit, maybe a good buying opportunity for some people out there. Then we have the weekly up 2%, pretty solid. And then we have monthly up 13.61. Past 3 months, 0.75%. This past 3 months where it's just barely positive may be a good example of the fact that this could be on sale just a little bit longer until we get that good recovery. Then we have the past year up pretty much 50%, and then of course the past 5 years, which you've seen already. So like I've said in previous videos, and by the way, if you aren't subscribed to this channel, I would definitely recommend doing so because I've been talking about Microsoft for the past 2 months, and even when we had this low point right here, I was basically telling everyone that this would be an excellent time to buy. I actually bought Microsoft a lot of shares for $136, and that is even lower than the day of the lowest point. For example, I'll show you. As you can see, 137.35. It'll be in the proof right here if you go ahead and look. Let's see if we can find it. If it's under 137, that's my example. Yeah, as you can see, I bought it at 136.50, and I bought it at 135.31. I bought more at 140. I bought some at 139. And some at 148. I do not regret that whatsoever. It's made me a lot of money. And I basically tried to tell people that Microsoft was on sale and it was an excellent buy at that point. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would definitely recommend doing that because I try to give people information that will help them make money. And the good thing is you can look at my portfolio because I do portfolio updates every single day and see if I'm backing up what I'm saying. And most of the time I am. For example, we have with Microsoft, I talk about how Microsoft is a fantastic stock, and it takes up 27% of my portfolio. So obviously, I believe in this stock, or I wouldn't have this much of a percentage taking up my portfolio for it. And also, another reason that this is a fantastic stock is because you get dividends from this as well. For example, I'll show you a recent dividend payment that I got just a few months ago. And by the way, I think we have another dividend payment coming up either this month or next month. So that's another reason why I wanted to purchase, because I'm like, okay, I'll get dividends for this as well if I purchase right now. And then of course, Microsoft has never really been at a bad price for me. So you can pretty much dollar cost average on this stock. Honestly, there's not really any bad prices that I've seen for this stock. It never seems to be overvalued considering how much it grows. But as you can see, I received a dividend on March 12th of $10.20. Basically, I received 51 cents per share that I owned. And as you can see earlier, like I said, I didn't start purchasing a lot of Microsoft until just a few months ago, and I only own 20 shares at this point. But I still received $10.20, so considering that we own a little bit over 100, I would say that we will get a little over $50 in dividends this time around. And this is another really crazy thing about this stock is it has such tremendous growth every single year and over the past 5 years that it really is one of the few stocks out there that has no reason to give the stock owner a dividend just because the shareholder is already receiving so much growth of their stock value over every single year because of how well this company performs. However, Bill Gates and the company still decide to reward shareholders for purchasing their stock and holding it over time by giving out dividends, which in my opinion is such an awesome thing to do. They have no reason to actually do this considering how much the stock grows. However, it's just a cherry on top to prove to shareholders how great of a company this is and how well they will perform for shareholders. So this is one of the few stocks out there that I think is absolutely fantastic. It is currently my number one stock choice right now. If I purchase any more stocks, the number one option is going to be Microsoft. Next up, maybe Tesla, but I will certainly be putting a lot more money into this stock in the future, and if I do, I'll be sure to update you all with more videos like this. But I really did hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's pretty cool to share the moves that I'm making in the market, especially like when I'm able to keep people pretty much up to date on my recent moves. It gives everyone an idea of my thought process behind things and the stocks that I think are worth it for purchasing and holding for the next 40 years for the long term for retirement. Those are pretty much the stocks that I look at. If it's a short-term stock that I think will do well maybe in the next 5 years but not within the next 40 years, I really don't put a lot of my time into those stocks. I like passive income, and I like stocks where I don't have to readjust my portfolio every single day to make sure that I'm gaining money and gaining at least 10% a year. So that's pretty much my thought process behind it. But like I said earlier, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to smash that like button. It really helps my channel get recommended. And also, if you're new and would like to start purchasing stocks, feel free to use my referral link in the description for Robinhood and Webull. They're both brokerage sites where you can purchase stocks from. And if you use my link when signing up to those sites, we'll both get some free stocks. Here's just a few examples of the ones that I haven't sold so far. We have GE, LLNW, CZR. All of these are ones that I got for free, and the CZR one's pretty awesome because that was a $10 stock. But anyways, I just wanted to share this video with you all. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.